From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed. The future of an unprecedented Canada Railway stoppage hinges on a decision from the Canada Industrial Relations Board expected to come down today. Canadian Press reporter Brenda Molina-Navidad has more.
The federal government asked the board to enact binding arbitration in the dispute between Canadian Pacific Kansas City, Canadian National Railway, and their workers. Ottawa also wants the board to force them back to work while an agreement is hammered out. The board held a 9-hour hearing yesterday, saying it's addressing the issue with utmost urgency.
Freight shipments and some major commuter lines across the country came to a standstill on Thursday when the country's two largest railway companies locked out workers after months of contract talks failed to secure a deal. The Teamsters Union says it will lawfully abide by any decision from the CIRB and is prepared to file challenges in federal court if necessary. Meanwhile, a once stuck 138-meter cargo ship near Montreal has now been freed. Fisheries and Oceans Canada says two tugboats successfully towed the Dutch ship that had been blocking traffic in the St. Lawrence Seaway. A law professor is urging the Supreme Court of Canada to weigh the constitutionality of revolutionary and unprecedented legislation that limits members of a prominent spy watchdog from using their parliamentary immunity to speak out.
In an application to the top court, Lakehead University professor Ryan Alford says the case raises issues of public importance about the protections afforded to MPs and senators exercising their freedom of speech and debate. Federal lawyers say in an opposing submission, there's no need for the Supreme Court to wade into the matter. The court is expected to rule in coming weeks whether it will hear the case. Jim Bronskill, The Canadian Press, Ottawa.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is set to meet in person this week with his full cabinet for the first time since the Liberals were handed down a stunning defeat in a Toronto by-election in June.
The agenda of the 3-day retreat in Halifax is focused on housing, affordability, and Canada-US relations, but the government's struggles with Canadian voters will likely overshadow it all. The Liberals had hoped their annual retreat in Charlottetown a year ago would shore up support with Canadians, but 12 months later, their slump in the polls is even bigger. Former Liberal Chief of Staff Marcy Serks, now a strategist at Compass Rose, says the Toronto St. Paul's by-election loss in June was a big hit to Liberal morale. She says this is a critical meeting for the government. Mia Rabson, The Canadian Press, Ottawa.
And the Biebers had a baby. Canadian pop superstar Justin Bieber posted a photo of a baby's foot yesterday on Instagram with the caption, "Welcome home." Bieber and his wife Hailey announced they were expecting a baby in May when she was about 6 months pregnant. The Biebers named the newborn Jack Blues Bieber, sticking with Justin's iconic initials, JB. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Bowden Francis struck out a career-high 12 in a dominant performance for the Toronto Blue Jays, carrying a no-hitter into the 9th inning of a 3-1 victory over the Los Angeles Angels. Francis walked 3 and hit a batter in his 3rd consecutive win. Toronto looks to sweep the series with another win tomorrow at home. Meanwhile, the jersey worn by New York Yankees slugger Babe Ruth during his famous called shot home run in 1932 could sell at auction for as much as $30 million US. The BC Lions will be aiming to snap a 4-game slide when they visit the surging Ottawa Redblacks in CFL action today. And there are a dozen matches in Major League Soccer, including 2 involving Canadian teams. CF Montreal hosts the New England Revolution, while Toronto FC visits the Houston Dynamo. Toronto is 8th in the 15-team Eastern Conference, 4 points out of a playoff spot. And Montreal is in 11th place and 7 points out of a playoff position. From the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.